Nobody's awake. Why is nobody awake? I'm awake.
Because life is hard.
Welcome to Maker's Hustle, the podcast about turning your passion into a profession. This is episode 50. 50!
50!
50.
50.
For
Half a
Monday,
century.
What?
July 3rd, 2017. I'm Bill
That's
Avolsi,
amazing.
and here are my co-hosts, Amy Davis-Roth. Hey, Amy.
Hello, we're 50.
And Jeffrey Moore. Hey, Jeff.
That's not my name. It's
Big Jeff?
Mr. Jeffrey Moore to you.
Mr. Jeffrey Moore. I thought it might have been
Mr.
Big
Jeffrey
Jeff.
Moore.
Big
Big
Jeff.
Jeff, yeah.
Big Jeff.
You
Depends
really-
on today's Friday, so it's Mr. Jeffrey Moore.
You got to
Mr.
give me
Jeff,
this
too.
stuff before we start, so I'll get
I'm
it
sorry.
right.
I'll do it next time.
It's
I'll
okay.
probably forget. These are things that just pop into my head right before.
Yeah. So, because it's episode 50, I'm going to take a slightly longer moment than usual to thank everybody on Patreon for supporting the show and for making all of this possible. We
Please do.
started this show about a year ago, more or less. It's actually next week's going to be 1 year. And I don't think any of us imagined for a minute that it would be as successful as it is. So
I did. I
did.
had faith. I had faith.
Jeff
I
knew,
said,
and the rest
you know
of us
what?
were like, nah, this is going to be
I tried. Listen, everybody. I tried to tell them. I was like, this is a great idea. I really think this is going to, open up a lot of doors. It's going to be a great opportunity. And they're like, bah humbug. But hey, look where we are right now.
Yeah, that's what I called you both up and said, hey, you want to be on a crappy podcast?
Yeah, I thought for sure after the first round of hate mail I was going to get fired, but for some reason I'm still here, so this is great. 50
All right.
episodes.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do just real quick is go down the list of our supporters, because I feel like they deserve an individual thank you.
They do.
Okay, so this is, I managed to get the list in order of when they signed up to support us, so buckle up, everybody. So
Can you say everybody's name without taking a breath?
I could try.
All right, let's try that.
All right,
Let's
ready?
see if Bill can pass out on the episode. Let's do it.
Okay.
Scott Hahn, Jim Bashirs, Johnny Scary, Brian Prusa, David Thompson, Ian McKay, Le Pic Bois, David Bellhorn, Nick Ryan, Ross Carroll, Matt Scranton, Aaron Lund, Cactus Workshop, Dave Bauer, Elaine Go, Aaron Willett, Humus Workshop, Cat Says Meow, Daryl Troxel, Engstrom Design, Eric Burke, Leslie Hellewell, Rick Jorgensen, Marcus Nick Carruthers, go! Dominic Bender, Randy Bratt, Steve Avery, Michael Rodriguez, and Alan Canterbury, thank you all.
Thank
Oh,
you
you were so close, too.
I got
Thank you,
so
family.
close, there were like 4 left. Oh,
So
man.
good.
Try that
So
next
please pledge if you want Bill to die next time he has to try
time.
to do that.
Yes. If
This could be a fun game.
If you join the family, if you join the Maker's Hustle family, you could potentially be the person, the last name Bill calls
Before
ever
I
in life.
die.
Yes.
Before he does.
Oh, man.
It's good to have goals.
Yeah, all right. Good
Dream
stuff.
big.
I dream big.
So somebody else
who else
say,
on Patreon can give you that?
Somebody else talk about what they're working on while I catch my breath. Go.
So I'll go fast. I'm doing a little bit of writing, a bit of writing. I'm working on a grant, an excellent grant. I'll be doing some consulting. So it's going to be not my first consulting gig, but the first one that I actually had to apply to. Most of the time when I do any type of consultant work and I go into schools or I go into different type of programs, they either come to one of my trainings and they say, hey, I want you to come to me. And so I never really have to, well, I guess I don't really have to audition. It's just my audition is by them coming to me. But now I have to fill out a grant. I got to fill out paperwork. Obviously the money is more. That's the only reason why I'm doing it. So I'm going to be applying for this grant. It's going to be a great opportunity. I'm looking forward to doing this. And if I get it, I'll tell you about it. If I don't, then right, you guys will never know anyway. And I'm also still working to kind of support the grant. I'm working on the article I told you guys about diversity in STEM. So, doing more research, and it kind of got me juiced up after the last episode last week. Kind of motivated me to go in and do some more research and get more data and kind of look at it. And it's kind of funny because, we always say that data can be used to kind of support whatever argument you want. And so there's a lot of different numbers out there. And if you really line the numbers up next to each other, you're like, oh man, this kind of makes it more difficult to find a way to kind of tie all of the data together, because you look at multiple studies and they have different numbers, and obviously that's because different studies are done by different people, different groups and stuff like that. But it's definitely a different type of experience. I think I mentioned this before, I hate writing. So it's like I'll write for a day and then I'll take a day off. I'll write for a day and then I'll take a day off, because it takes so much out of me, and and it's definitely a different type of experience for me, because I'm not used to writing. I'm not a huge, for those of you who know me, you know that I have never read a book from cover to cover in my life. I'm not a book guy. I'm not a reading or writing guy. I'm a audio type of learner. So I usually get most of my information from either reading small articles that are short that can keep my attention span, or I go and watch a video, or I wait for it to come in the audio form. So that's really the way that I consume information. But doing this writing, filling out the grants and doing the article is forcing me to really do a lot of reading. So like 20-page journal articles. I hate those. So, but it is what it is. Hopefully I'll be done soon so I can move on with my life. But yeah, this stuff is annoying, but I'm getting it done. So that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So I've been working on a bunch of commission pieces, which has been really fun and really great, and I love it. I did a tattoo design for somebody that is a saw blade with a bunch of different woodworking tools in it, which was so much fun to do. I just got hired by someone who works at JPL to do a robot illustration for something that they're going to use in-house, sort of a motivational thing for one of their teams, which I'm super excited and really honored to have been asked to do that. So that's on my list for this week. I'm also working on a piece about it's a sci-fi fantasy piece. It's going to have butterflies and like air bubbles, and it's on another planet, and it's really weird, but that's inspired me to on the side do some research on butterflies. And like I think I mentioned last week that I had done a butterfly. I've now done a couple more, and I did this really cool thing where I framed them all so they look like specimens. So I put them in these like box frames. So I did watercolor drawings of butterflies, and then put their scientific name, and then pinned them in these box frames, and it looks really super cool. I really love it. And I also intentionally did this thing that not a lot of people realize. A lot of times when you see illustrations of butterflies, you see their wings and they're sort of parallel. Like they're pointed up, and you can see both the top and the bottom part of the wings perfectly. Mm-hmm. Well, that means that the butterfly is dead. Yeah. Because that's not in nature how butterflies look. That means they actually are specimens, that they've found and they've pressed or whatever. So I intentionally drew all my butterflies that are the specimens as alive butterflies so that I can also use them in the illustration that I'm going to be doing. So it's, I don't know, like not a lot of people know that, but to me it's really neat. When I look at them, I have them hanging in my bedroom right now, and it's just really neat. It looks like there's live butterflies on the walls, so it's just really a cool thing. I love that. And so, I got my little bee houses. I put them up. I haven't got any bees making nests in them yet, but I will update you if we hear anything about that, or if I see anything about that. I also did a new sticker, which is a really cool illustration I did of a Day of the Dead skeleton, which is going to go out free to my patrons. And it's also now on my Etsy shop for $1 if you want to get one of my stickers. That's really cool. And I'm also doing a whole series of the butterflies that I just mentioned as a sticker pack. So it's going to be my first sticker pack. I'm going to start doing these little like product design type things for events that I do. So it's going to be fun. I'm going to design a whole little packaging thing for it, maybe with some information on each butterfly, and then I'll sell those at events. And I did a photo shoot because I'm doing another project where I'm going to do a watercolor painting of mermaid warrior. So I had a friend of mine, a very lovely girl named Kayla, came over to my art studio, and she does a lot of swimming. She competes, and she's very athletic, and she does all the sort of running and stuff like that. So she's perfect model for this. And so we sort of put her in one of those blankets that you can get on Amazon or wherever. Like everyone has them, or they were very, very trendy for a while. Sort of like those cozy things. They go like halfway up your body. They're sort of like a little tube sock, but it's shaped like a mermaid tail. So we like put her in that, and we did all this like lighting and weird effects. So it looks like she's underwater in the photograph, but she's like actually sitting on a stool, and it's just really cool. So she modeled for me. Now I'm going to turn it into a warrior mermaid illustrations. I'm excited about that. So I'm doing a lot of art. Oh, and I've got, a whole bunch of surly-ramics that I'm working on. I've gotten quite a few custom orders in the past week, which is great too. So my table is just like covered with like works in progress. And the kiln is loaded. Just before we started this podcast, I loaded up the kiln. It's 4 or 5 shelves deep and it's totally packed. So that's great news. So I'm getting stocked up. I'm starting to get ready for all the events that will start after summer. It's really great. I'm home for the summer, and so I'm doing a lot of work and a lot of artwork, which I love to do. So, yeah, everything's great. I'm exhausted. My mother spent the night last night, brought over her 2 dogs, which then hung out with my 2 dogs, and so it became this whole weird thing where no dog wanted to sleep, and every dog wanted to play with chew toys in the middle of the night, and every dog wanted to run from one bedroom to the other and lick people in the feet. And long story short, nobody got any sleep last night, but it was a lot of fun because there were dogs everywhere. So that was fun, but today I'm a little sleepy. But yeah,
I would like a dog.
Yeah.
I would like a
I
nap.
miss my puppy.
I would like a nap. That's what I was
too.
thinking. I would like to take a nap. So tired.
So let's see.
Yeah.
Over here, it's all videos. It's front to back videos. I'm working on my video for Make right now. I built a tiny trebuchet out of popsicle sticks. I did it sitting at my desk with some super glue and a pair of scissors. That's it. So no tools, no fancy stuff. I didn't go in the workshop. I sat down with popsicle sticks and I made something.
Cool.
Because, this whole idea that if making is for everybody and you can use anything to make stuff, well, I'm going to sit here and try it out. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make something, functional and fun, and you can build one of these things and fling stuff across, fling it over the cubicle divider at the person who's talking too loud on the phone. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't work in an office. I don't know what office people do.
I know. What do office people do?
Apparently they get mad. I don't know. Anyway, so, and then, as soon as I did that, I posted some photos, and people started sending me pictures of siege weapons that they had made using office supplies. Like,
it.
my buddy Kyle sent me this picture. He built a catapult out of a plastic spoon, a bunch of pencils, and some rubber bands.
So good.
Yeah, so that was hilarious. So that's going to be my Make video as soon as I finish that up and get it sent off.
Cool.
I have a sponsor for my channel, a company called RZ Mask. They make air filtration masks. And so they sent me a bunch of stuff. I'm doing a video for them, and so that'll be out in the next few weeks.
Nice.
Let's see.
How ambitious of you.
I know.
Next few weeks.
I'm working on something with a company called Carolina Shoes. They make boots. Well, they make boots and shoes, but I got boots from them. And I'm working on maybe doing a project with them in the next month or 2, so that's cool. I'm trying to space these things out so I don't get overwhelmed, because I would rather, give a reasonable projection and then beat it than say, yeah, I'll have that done right away and then miss it. And it's also ridiculously hot, so I'm just trying not to go downstairs if I can help it.
Yeah, it's hot everywhere. It's really
so I'm planning a lot
definitely
of projects that are either short or don't involve going in the workshop, because I can do a lot from my desk. So can any of you, and that's kind of the point. But the real point is it's hot down there and I don't want to go. So
yeah, it's hot in the art studio. It's much hotter out here, and that's why I'm super glad I got that drafting table, and I'm super excited that people are asking me to do logos and stuff like that right now. So if you're listening and you need an illustration done, now's the time. Because if I stay in the house and work, it's nice and air conditioned in there, and it's really cool. So yeah, I hear you.
So let's see. This week we're actually going to follow on from something that we talked about last week. We started having a discussion about, I guess you could call them like cultural expectations or cultural pressure. So Amy was talking about how women and girls are told that, science isn't for you. You need to like get married and have a family, or you need to do this job over here, or the expectation that like, why don't you go into nursing? That's a good field for women. Why don't you go do that? And Jeff was talking about how he thought he was going to be in the NFL until he was 22, because that's the expectation.
Yeah,
and
it's weird. I just saw an article actually online about, I didn't read it because it said it's so incredibly sexist. It was like, men don't want to be nurses and their wives don't want them to either, or something like that. It was like something really offensive like that. But yeah, it's true. There's so many things that are expected of us based upon our genders, and that really feeds into a lot of the work that we do. And sometimes it's good for you to play off of it. I mean, sometimes you're forced actually to sort of riff off of those societal norms that are placed upon you. And I've done it, obviously, like for a really long time with the surly-ramics business. You know, that can be marketed as something that a sweet girl makes. You know, it's crafty and it's fun and it's jewelry. And, you know, but as soon as it got into being about science or being about, you know, any of the higher forms of thought, then it became, you know, not as culturally acceptable. Like, I should be making just flowers and butterflies like I'm doing right now and cute stuff like that, and that's all right. But as soon as I started doing stuff that was more intellectual or more science-based, I sort of, you know, got pushback from people that are like, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You can't possibly know what that means, or, you know, stuff like that. So it's interesting, all of the different, you know, pressures that are placed upon us because we're men or women, or we're, you know, on the spectrum somehow, you know, the flowing gender wheel. I'm so tired right now. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah. And with men, you're expected to sort of, it's like toxic masculinity is a thing.
Yeah.
Where with men, you're expected to do really tough things and really hard things and manly things. And you're not expected to be sensitive or to cry or to have any kind of emotion put into the work that you do, because that's considered weak, and that's considered bad because that's then associated with being female. And, you know, so like if you're weak or sensitive in any way, that's, you know, looked down upon for men, and that's unfortunate. So these issues hurt both men and women. It's, you know, a lot of times it's sort of framed as like, oh, it's, you know, women are, you know, underrepresented, or women are being oppressed. And while that's true, these same issues that feminists often fight for are also hurting men. And, you know, if we work together, we can sort of get rid of all those things. Like, it's okay for guys to cry, and it's okay for guys to paint flowers, and it's okay for, you know, men to go into, you know, jobs like nursing instead of being a doctor, because that's all still, those are valid things, those are important jobs, those are all things that we all should be able to do.
Well, It's funny you say that.
I may be rambling, I don't know.
No, it's okay. But
No,
something I was going to bring up is the last video that I did. I built this cabinet, and it took like a month, so, you know, it was shot over many days, but on like a few of those days, I had nail polish on one hand.
Oh, yeah.
And it was because, it was because my wife got new nail polish, but she already had her nails done, and like they were fine, you know. And if you've ever done this before, what you know is until they chip, they're not coming off.
Yeah.
Okay, if they're perfect, you leave them alone. But she got this new polish, and she wanted to see how it looked, and I said, well, just, you know, we're just sitting watching TV. I'm like, here, use me.
You're such a good husband.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Isn't he? It's like Johnny. My husband's like that too. And society looks down on people.
Well, I got a lot of questions like, were you wearing nail polish? Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I was just yeah.
Why? Why is that confusing?
I didn't even go in there. I was just like, yeah, I was. So what?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to handle it, actually.
You're such a great husband.
No,
my wife would be like, Jeff, can you do this for me? No, I don't feel like it. No. And not because, and like she wants, and it's small stuff like, and this has nothing to do with the topic, but she's like, let's go and get a pedicure. I don't feel like it. And I would like to go get a pedicure, but the amount of work that I feel like would take me to go to the place, I don't even like waiting for doctor's appointments. I have a very bad issue with waiting. So I was like, yeah, you know what? So
you can
there's
make an
things
appointment, you know.
Yeah, no, not out here. Not out here. There are
you can't?
No, I make appointments and I'm there 15 minutes early, and I'm always waiting for an hour and a half, 2 hours. But my point is, Bill, I can learn some lessons from you, Bill. You're a great husband. I need to take notes. But getting back to the point. So I think I told this story before. And this is specifically relevant because I'm talking to the guy who kind of gave me my first big break. But last year, after the Makers Fair, Bill wrote an article on me. And that was the first like real article that I had in a real publication. Like, I've done things, and, you know, I take pictures, and, you know, I would share those pictures with people, but it wasn't really like a big thing. Like, Bill's article made me look official, and I appreciate that. It's part of the reason why I agreed to do the podcast. But I posted that article. On Facebook, and that was the first time for a lot of the people that I grew up with that they knew that I actually made robots, right? And like I had videos. I had like a video, and like I would show a couple of people. But because I'm in New York City and I grew up in Buffalo, most of the people that I grew up with aren't around me every day. They don't know about the stuff that I do as it relates to making, as it relates to even some of the businesses that I own. And so that article was the first time that a lot of my friends and family and people that I grew up with were able to kind of see what it is that I do, what it is that I'm passionate about outside of, the normal, business stuff, football stuff. I played college football, all that stuff. So, and they weren't around. They just saw it. They would like the article. People read it, whatever. So I go home, and I can't remember what holiday it was, but I was just home. And, just a whole bunch of my friends and my family members asked me, like, yo, so you make robots. Like, what are you making robots for? And I'm like, because I like making robots and I want other people to like making robots too. But they're like, but why? Like, what is the point? Like, why? What are they going to do with it? So I get this robot and then what? I'm like, okay, well, because my brother has a son. He was probably like a couple months old, because this is obviously a year ago. He's 2. So he's like, okay, so if I get his name is Josh. If I get Josh this robot, what is he gonna do? I'm like, if you can get this for your son, for my nephew, and he can learn how to build it, how to program it, this will put him leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. Mm-hmm. And that was and he was with it and he was interested, but it's that break, right? So like getting people who never knew anything about technology on this level, right? The most technology they know is their phones. You know what I'm saying? And they barely understand what technology is inside the phone. They just know how to use the phone. Yeah. Right? They know how to use the internet, but they don't really know how to maximize the internet and how to create businesses and all that other stuff. And so for me, this thing has always been about, how can I take something that is changing our lives on a daily basis without us even knowing about it, right? And how can I get us to understand it on a deeper level, be interested on a deeper level, and want to be innovators and try to take that and not just be users, but producers. And that was always the reason why I got into that. Because here's the thing, and this is my firm belief. I don't think that the guys who I grew up with, I don't think that they're dumb. I actually have some of the smartest, like I grew up with people who are drug dealers, gangsters. Like, these guys know they can think of anything and they'll try and make a business out of it. I got dudes who start clothing lines with t-shirts. I got dudes who, I just said, buy and sell drugs. Like, they can buy a pound, tell you how much you're going to get for the quarter, for the half, how much you can take that and sell it. Like, the amount of mental Olympics they can do is crazy. And I just want them to take that same type of capacity and just use that in a way that can literally change their lives and the lives of the people around them. Like, there's millionaires being made every day because of Silicon Valley technology. And if we could just get into that, it's going to change the community. It's going to change both physically and culturally. It's going to change the family dynamics. It's going to position a lot of people to be able to take care of themselves for generations to come. And I know that there's the potential there because we dominate in sports. Mm-hmm. The amount of time that I put into going to football practice, I used to have to go to football practice for 2 hours after school. Then we had to work out before school. So it's not like they don't have the ability to dedicate their time and energy and their potential to something. It's just we have to find a way to either balance it, because I don't want them to stop playing sports. I think sports is a great gateway. But I think if you could find a way to kind of redirect a lot of that attention from, just going home after football practice and sitting around and doing nothing, or raising your kids and focusing on the only thing you could do is going to sports. Like, my man, one of my good friends, he had a daughter. She's my goddaughter. He just had a son about a year ago. The day his baby was born, he took a picture, posted on Facebook, and said, "Can't wait to put a football in his hand." I'm like, yo, that's the first thing that crossed your mind? A football? A football? And that's all of my friends. That is their go-to. Yeah. And so I'm just trying to come up with a different go-to. I think that this go-to... No, go on. No, that was it. Just a different.
There's a very similar phenomenon that happens with women and little girls, and it's how society has sort of trained us to deal with, like, with black boys, they're going to be into football. With little girls, you go up to them and you tell them that they're so pretty and do they want to be a princess. Instead, I've trained myself actually to go up to, whenever I meet any kind of kid, I ask them what they want to be when they grow up or what they like to do. I never ever comment on their physical appearance, because for years, and I remember it too when I was a little girl, it's like, all you are is pretty. It's okay as long as you're pretty. Everything that is important to young girls, you're being taught, like, to do your hair and to do your nails and to do, fashion and things like that. And so it's really important, I think, that we expand what we are expecting from children. And that's how, the only way we're going to ever change the problems that we have in society is by, going towards the kids with better ideas and helping them to grow.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think if I had to, like, distill the whole thing down, it would be the best reason to look at these, like, cultural expectations is because if all we do is do what's expected of us, then we're never going to be anything special.
No.
Or if we are, it's going to be by accident. You know what I mean?
It's super weird because for me, and the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I am a product of this. Like, I come from this, right? Like, I've been playing football my entire life. I still play football. I'm not playing this year because my knee is busted. But I come from being pushed through high school, right? I went to an all-boys Catholic school, right? I wasn't a bad student, but trust me, I floated. And I think if I wouldn't have been a good athlete, they probably wouldn't have been as lenient on me, right? And I'm not trying to take away from the other black kids, because there was, like, out of 150 boys that I went to school with, there was only like 6 or 7 black kids that I graduated with. And so only two of them were really smart, didn't play sports. But when I say they were really smart, they were the top of the class, right? So, but for the rest of us, we were just coasting. And so I do think if you change the expectation, not to say that you can't do sports, but if you were to change the expectation so that you have to do both, I think that'll go a long way, just as a first step, right? Just as the first step, because as it is right now, you go into a public school, I go and talk, I work right now I have a whole bunch of different programs. I have young boys, multiple ages, right? Multiple ages. And if I ask any of them, what do they want to be right now? Guess what they're going to say? Rapper or a sport or an athlete. Rapper or athlete. That's it. And half of them can't rap. No, most of them can't rap. I beat them in freestyle battles every day. So the rapping is they need to give up on that. Follow your dreams, but know when your dream is not the right way to go. And the athlete, if you look at the percentage of people that actually make money playing sports, it's so small. It's like less than 1%. So we have these expectations that are literally a 1 in a million chance. Once in a million opportunity. So why don't we push them in a direction that's going to increase the likelihood that you'll be successful? At least you have a higher probability of being successful if you pursue a career in STEM. It's that simple. You have a higher probability of whatever it is that you do in high school, you'll end up getting a job, and that job more than likely is going to pay more if you stick to STEM. It's that simple. If you're not interested, you're not interested. But if you've never been given that opportunity, if you've never been exposed to that, then you don't even have a chance. And you just keep getting directed at something that is a once in a million opportunity. And that is my struggle. That is the thing that I'm working to change.
That's a struggle, I think, for our entire country right now. And a lot of it is it's like a symptom of capitalism, and it's a symptom of racism, and it's because the only successful black people that we see are either actors or rappers or athletes, and that's really unfortunate. And the same sort of thing happens a lot with women. We really don't see a lot of successful women that are doing things that are outside of acting or music or something like that. It's the same sort of a situation, and we really need to encourage people to stay in school is one thing that's really important. Like I didn't go to college. Well, I went to junior college and I got an occupational certificate and stuff like that, but I was never really encouraged, and I didn't have the money to stay in school, and that's a whole nother issue that we could talk about. But we really need to encourage, if not higher education, a way to educate the youth in other ways, in free ways, like on the internet and your STEM program and the things that you're doing. And even in my jewelry, in the tiniest sense, is, I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to put symbols of science and symbols of technology and symbols of math on these necklaces so that it will celebrate the people that are teaching that to the kids, and it will encourage other people to ask about that. We have to encourage people to, branch out beyond what culturally has been placed upon us as expectations. You're not just a mother, you're not just a wife, you're not just a baby making machine. You can be that and a whole bunch of other things if you want, or you could not be that at all. There's so many opportunities, and our political environment that we're living through right now is frightening, because we're having people trying to take away a lot of those opportunities. And if that does happen, it sort of leaves it to people like us, and especially people like Jeff, who are going to actually go out there and take effort and make change with people at a young age. And I mean, that's the only way we're really going to change these things. And also by celebrating the people that are making these changes. Yeah. Finding the people of color that are in STEM, and they're out there. There's and there's like a whole Black Twitter with scientists that are freaking amazing. I have to look up their names, but Rachel Burks is one of the scientists that is amazing, and Danielle Lee, she's another amazing Black scientist that's on Twitter. There's some really great people that are doing really great things that are helping to sort of break down the status quo, but we need to throw our support behind them, and people like me, white people, need to push them forward and do what we can to encourage this to continue, no matter what.
Yeah, and I think the solution is what we're kind of talking about last week, but the solution is you have to build a community for those people.
Yeah.
And if there is a community, you have to evaluate that community and say, is that community really doing work? But that representation that you're talking about, if you don't see it, then I can go up to any kid and say, yo, you could be a rocket scientist if you wanted to. If they look around and don't see any rocket scientists, then you better believe they're going to look at the thing that they can see. And even though they can't really see and touch and talk to any rappers or actors or athletes,
they see them
because
everywhere.
they're constantly blitzed with them. Exactly. Because that's all they see. And there's multiple ways to see them, whether it be on social media, on TV, music, whatever. There's so many opportunities for them to see that. If there's not a competing force, if there is not some type of community where you could provide mentorship, where you could provide resources, actual tangible tools for these kids, then there's no way that message is going to stick.
There's a huge breakdown in how our society treats what's valuable. Like teachers, I think, should be paid the most out of anyone.
Agreed.
Teachers should be
I'm a teacher.
Millionaires. Yeah,
I'm a teacher. I learned.
They're the least, they're at the lowest pay scale compared to most jobs. This is it's just ridiculous. And the people that are the most wealthy are people that are doing things that, quite frankly, don't take a whole heck of a lot of skill, like, acting. And no offense to the actors out there, but I mean, I wish that we could make scientists rock stars. I wish we could make engineers rock stars. Mathematicians should be famous. We should put more effort in celebrating people that use their minds instead of people that use their bodies, and then we could sort of break away from these stereotypes about what a woman is supposed to be and what a man is supposed to be.
Hey, real quick, if you're listening to this and you're about to send me an email talking about how the free market works, don't bother. We all know. Go ahead.
We know, yeah. We already know how it works.
We know, but it's crazy that you mentioned that, Amy, because if you think about how, and I don't want to just stick to science, but science is probably the easiest to tackle. And if you can understand how it applies to science, then you can extrapolate that to anything. But if you really think about how much your life is affected by the technology that we use, you know what I'm saying? There's so much to appreciate in the fact that 20 years ago, there was no such thing as an iPhone. Yeah. Right. And literally you can run a business off of the thing in your hand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's that powerful.
It's funny. I had to tell somebody that on Twitter the other day. I got caught up in this thread. what's his name, Hank Green, who runs he's one half of the Vlogbrothers YouTube channel. He posted something for his followers saying, hey, I'm going to do a Q&A, like, what do you want to see in it? And one of the things was, like, how do you figure out what you want to do? You know, because his followers are mostly younger, right? And so the question was, how do you figure out what you want to do? Like, I'm going to finish college. I have no idea what I want to do. And so I just kind of jumped in and I said, start something at home. Try it out. Like, find something that interests you. Find a way to implement that. Do that. And they're like, well, I don't have any money to start a business. I'm like, you don't need money. I mean, it helps.
You don't need money.
It helps.
Yeah.
But you can start a business from your phone. I think, didn't we just have the 10-year anniversary of the iPhone, like, yesterday or something?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Okay, so there you go. 10 years. Happy anniversary iPhone. You now have the power to start a business in your pocket. Because seriously,
and
that's all you need.
You can always be on. And
but I feel like that's, what you guys have been saying is, like, that message hasn't really gotten through to everyone. It's gotten through to white people just fine, okay? Like, I know a lot of people in my, like, cohort, I guess, who have used their phone or their internet connection or whatever to start a little business, consulting or doing whatever it is that they got to do. Like, the side hustle thing is strong with, like, white millennials, okay? They do it all the time. But you go into other groups, the freelance thing. You have sites that pop up for people who don't want to go through all the effort of starting their own business but still want to work on the side. There are freelance job listing sites where you can pick up a job and get paid for however many hours you do, and they'll handle all the finances and stuff. You don't have to advertise yourself; you just do your thing.
Yep.
But everybody else, I mean, you can do that stuff just with what you've already got. But that message, because of the way these like the cultural pressure works, is that some people never get this message.
Yeah.
Did you, Amy? Not that long ago, the message was, "Oh, okay, if you're a woman and you're going to college, you're doing it so you can find an educated husband."
Right. Yeah.
Crap like that.
Yeah.
Well,
I come from a really long line of women artists, and they were all very, very poor. And the one woman that did the best, I think, that I'm related to is my mother, and she got a teaching job. She was an art critic for a while, and she did a lot of writing, and now she's like basically a tenured teacher. She teaches art, and it's really great. But all my life, I was like, I'm gonna find a way to make money as an artist. But it's true. It's like, why are you in school? And it wasn't until I had this really great graphic design teacher. I think I've mentioned this on here before, and he was the best teacher that I ever had. It was at a community college. It was at LA Valley College, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name, but he told me, Amy, it does not matter where your degree comes from. It doesn't even matter if you have a degree. What matters is the work that you do. All they're going to look at is your portfolio. And you can create that now digitally online. You can go out there and you can create a portfolio with no job history. And if you're good, you can make money off of it.
Yeah. And I think that's even so I have a master's degree. I have a bachelor in, what is my bachelor in? I have a bachelor in criminal justice. I regret that 100%. And I have a master in public administration. I like that one, actually. And, those degrees are only as good as somebody willing to take a chance on hiring you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at unemployment rates for black men, especially in my age category, it's the highest out of every subgroup in the world. And not the world, obviously, but in America. And so even people like me struggle to get opportunities. I don't even like the word getting opportunity. I don't even like saying that. That actually hurts me because I believe that an opportunity is something that you create for yourself. So I'm not really the type of person who likes to go asking for a job or asking for people to give them opportunities. But that being said, that is the mentality. So it's like the young dudes that I know, when I go home, I'm constantly telling them, and they see me, like, I'm constantly telling them, like, yo, let's start a business. I can't tell you how many people back home I have either given money to start a business, or I have directly went and said, yo, I'm going to pay for this. You just operate it. Like this summer, I'm trying to get my brother to start a landscaping company, just like how we used to have when we were kids. And I'm telling him, like, yo, I'll buy the lawnmowers. I'll go and buy a car. We go throw the car, just like we used to do when we were kids. And you just go around and just do it, right? Just give me a cut every time you go to the house. Just give me a cut, give me a cut. And because that's not what he's trying to do, because he's thinking that he needs to go and get a job. That's where his focus is. And I'm like, yo, you have to create these opportunities. It's so many ways for you to get money out here. It's so many ways, whether it be some labor type thing. My dad always used to tell me, you're either gonna work your mind or you're gonna work your behind. All right, work your mind and behind. I'm trying to focus on how I can work my mind, but I came from working my behind.
Yeah.
Right. And so now I don't want to work my behind anymore. Now I'm trying to work my mind and let people pay me for my mind. And so that is, and that's the natural progression. But because we don't really give them because we don't have those type of expectations when people are young, we just tell them, go to college, get a job. I sound like Robert Kiyosaki. Get a job, save your money, and retire. Like that, you're not going to survive if that's the way you're trying to go. It's not possible.
That's not living.
Oh, that too.
Okay, I mean, okay. If your whole career goal is basically wait until you're 55 and retire, or 65, sorry, you know, so your whole career goal is put your head down until you're 65 and retire. Okay,
Yeah.
You want to talk about like cultural pressure? The cultural pressure is get a job, shut your mouth, go to work.
Yeah,
and
it's
hopefully,
not even a
like your pension is still
anymore.
there.
Yeah, that's not even a realistic thing for people. Like my mother's still working; she's like 70.
Yeah.
You can't just retire anymore. There's not enough money to do that. Things are too expensive.
Some jobs don't even have pensions anymore.
Most of them don't.
Most
my job don't have no pension.
No.
Yeah.
Last time I had a job, it was last time I had a job, it was a 401k, and with a 401k, you have to know a certain amount about investing, or it's no good.
Yeah. Right.
And they don't teach you. They just, we're throwing money in
Here's
this
the
thing for you.
401k. Yeah. They don't even tell you can change the stocks that you're invested in. I had to go in there. I'm like, yo, I'm losing money over here, man. What can I do about this? They say, yo, you can go and pick what stock. I'm like, oh, now you tell me after 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my last job was a waitress. You don't make any money at all. But just a point about Jeff you have a double master's?
No, I have a bachelor and a master's.
A bachelor and a master's?
Yes.
Well, regardless, that's incredible and that's amazing. And one of the cultural pressures that we face, as women and people of color is that you have to be twice as qualified as the white guy to even be considered for the same position. So that's something interesting to think about. And, so kudos to you for doing all the work, because at least that gives you an equal shot at life,
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
All right, I get your point. But I'm saying,
no, because I don't want to. Because I do think. So there's a couple of things that cross my mind. The first thing is I don't want it to seem like, I don't want this to seem like we're trying to ridicule the white dude.
I'm cool with it. Go ahead.
But
it's not the white guy. It's just like the idea of whiteness. I mean,
I
it's a thing
that.
that exists that we benefit from. Like I benefit from this.
Yeah.
So.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is because, and it's sort of like, and this is from my perspective. It's sort of like how I just said I don't believe that you should ask somebody else for an opportunity. An opportunity is something that you should create for yourself. So I look at, and this is all me, I look at the cultural expectation as a challenge. So because nobody expects me to be able to move the way that I move, it pushes me. I'm an extremely competitive guy in every aspect of my life. So when I'm at Maker Faire and I see that there's no other black men around doing this, I'm thinking I need to be better than everybody here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I use that to push myself. That is how I operate. But that doesn't mean, right, that is the norm. And I'll be honest with you, I think if I was to go around, and because of the way that people have been conditioned, I think if you were to go around and ask them what do they think they need to get to this next level, I think they'll either tell you they need to be educated. Like if you ask all the people that I grew up with, how do you like, I got dudes who just came home from jail, right? One of my very good friends just came home from jail, and I text him, I hit him up on Facebook. I just checked up on him because I saw that I heard that he came home, but nobody told me. It was something I started seeing him post on Facebook again. So I sent them a direct message like, yo, what's going on, brother? When I come to Buffalo, I'm gonna come see you. Let me know if there's anything. First thing he says, like, yo, man, if you know anybody looking to hire somebody, let me know. And I'm like, yo, bro, this dude, number one, I grew up with him. I know he has a lot of talent. He has a very skilled dude, his hands, mechanic and everything. I'm like, yo, I'm going to start looking around to see if anybody needs their car worked on or see if there's anybody who needs some stuff. But you need to be out there knocking on door to door to door, going around seeing who needs help, right? So I look at it as a challenge, but I don't think that everybody in my position looks at it as a challenge. I think most people look at it in a kind of a defeatist mentality and say, oh, well, it's not much I can do. And so it's up to me, and I can't do it alone, obviously, but it's literally up to me. And this is where I put the challenge on myself. It's up to me to break down those walls and try to show people something different, because if I don't, very few people are willing to do it.
Well, I mean, you want to talk about cultural expectations and cultural pressure. The expectation, and this is partially because of like decades past, but also right now, if you don't have money, you can't start a business. If you don't live in like the Bay Area or Silicon Valley, you can't start a business, because that's where that's where tech happens, and then businesses are people with storefronts, and that takes money. If you don't have money, you can't do it. And that's the expectation. I still run into that all the time. I'm like, we have the internet. You can start an Etsy shop from your desk. I mean, even that's, you know, Etsy is piggybacking off of somebody else's thing, but you can start an Etsy shop, you can start a YouTube channel, you can start whatever you got to do with $0.
And they all got iPhones.
You can start a Threadless shop, you can start a Redbubble shop if
Amazon.
You can draw anything.
You could buy. I was listening to Gary Vee
on eBay. Yeah.
Okay, the
buy it
Threadless
on
stuff
Amazon,
and
sell it.
like the Redbubble stuff that's a beautiful thing. I mean, you do the design and they handle everything else.
Yeah.
You design it and you promote it, and you're
all you got to do is just annoy people with it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. And then you just annoy people with it, and it'll take off.
Yeah, but it's a bigger thing. So we say that, and it sounds easy, but getting people to see that as a possibility is the challenge.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
talking
about.
It's not the fact that they can't. It's not that they can't. It's like if I tell, like I said, I know hustlers. You know what I'm saying? I tell somebody like, yo, go to Family Dollar. This is some Gary Vee talk.
Yeah.
Go to Family Dollar, buy something for $2, go on Amazon, sell it for $10. They understand flipping.
Yeah.
They don't. That's not their. That's not where the gap is. The gap is because they don't see other people doing it. It's all like lip service to them.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so important that we create communities. Number one, that's the first thing. Creating communities, empowering communities, making sure those communities are not only inclusive, but once somebody is in that community, that there's something that they can wrap their mind around. That's the first thing. Sink their teeth in, wrap their mind around, whatever you want to call it. So creating that community. Then after you have that community and they got those tools, they need to have people who look like them, who think like them, who they can relate to, who they can go to, who they feel comfortable going to for a mentorship. I don't have a mentor. I need a mentor. I wish I had a mentor. I feel like that's what's stunting my growth right now, my personal, professional, and entrepreneurial growth. I don't have a mentor. And that's something my wife and I talk about all the time. If you're out there and you want to mentor me, shoot me a direct message. Right? I'm looking for a mentor. I need somebody who I can connect with, who can understand my vibe, because I talk to people and half the time I feel like, and obviously I'm kind of loopy, so it takes me a while to explain things. I know that I might have like some breaks in my communication, so I get it. If you don't understand me, then I apologize in advance. But at the same time, there's people who aren't able to keep up with me because there's so many things that I'm trying to do at the same time, and they're like, yo, you just got to calm down. I'm like, calm down for what?
No.
I'm going to die soon.
Yeah.
What do you mean calm down? See, you can't be my mentor. So I think after you build a community and it's inclusive and people have actually tangible tools that they can use, it needs to be a opportunity for them to get mentored. And there's enough older people to mentor a young person. Then some old people need young mentors. So it could go both ways. But I think those mentorships is the thing that, and when I say a mentor, somebody that you could reach out to at any time and they're invested in your development. Like, you can't mentor me if I can't call you in the middle of the night, say, yo, listen, I got this idea that I want to work on. I don't care if I'm waking you up out your sleep.
Yeah, tell me if it's a good idea or not. Yeah.
I need you to walk me off this ledge or tell me to jump. That's what I need. And those are the two things that I think are extremely important to any community, to any group that is trying to make it not just in America, not just in life, but trying to make it in entrepreneurship, in the maker community, whatever. And those are things that personally I'm invested in creating and supporting.
I want to help your friend that just got out of jail somehow. Like, because I know how hard it is, like, to get jobs. Like, they ask you on job applications if you have been convicted of a felony or something like that. And that's why it's so, freaking hard for people to get jobs.
Yeah.
And, like, if he's good at mechanics, I mean, maybe there's some way we could work together and help him set up some sort of a shop or something where he, like, does upcycled something or other. And we set up an Etsy shop for him and we help him out.
Yeah, well, I talked to him. I know he just... And just, he's such a good dude. That's the sad part. Like, yo, these people are so good. Like, my man, he got a son. His son is like, I want to say like 4 or 5 years old, young little kid. He's a young dude. He and it's not just him. Like, I got story after story. Like, within the last year, I probably had like 3 or 4 dudes come home. And I have a background in criminal justice. The reason why people get caught up in that cycle is because, like you said, they get out. And because they can't get a job, what else? What you expect me to do? I gotta hustle again. So that
the
there's
powerful
things
thing
that you
here,
have to do.
I'm with Amy. Look, if he's okay with it, I would be totally happy to just do like a case study episode. We just look at what do you know how to do, what are you good at, and then like how can you leverage that into something for yourself.
I think that'd be something that we could do off air. I don't know. I'd have to talk to him.
I don't want to
I wouldn't expect it. Yeah.
I don't want to air the dude's dirt.
Podcast might be a little bit much, but I'll talk to him.
But you know what I mean?
Right now, I know he's doing the janitor thing.
And then, can you even imagine, like, if he gets something off the ground, then the next guy to come home looks at that and goes, "Oh, I don't have to get a job. I can make my own job."
Yeah.
I'll make a logo for him.
No, but he.
Let me know.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely will talk to him. I hit him up on Facebook. But
I think this is a prime example of community, and this is a prime example of inclusivity. I mean, if you hear a story like that, do something.
Yeah.
Don't just like take this story in and be like, "Oh, that's a sad story." Like, let's do something. Let's
oh, poor guy. Oh.
Yeah, because I'm already sitting here going, okay, who do I know who could help? Like, because that's like my whole thing is networking and contacts, right? So I gotta know somebody.
Yeah, we know people in Buffalo, right?
Yeah, well, there you go. But let's talk about that. Yeah, we could talk about that. But it's like, not to beat a dead horse, but that is, you see that example over and over and over because the way people have been conditioned and the lack of expectations. So, even so, like this one dude, it's retroactive, right? So it's we're doing something for him after he's already been through the crazy. You know what I'm saying? If we can figure out a way to kind of systemize or manualize building the community, giving mentors, then we could prevent a lot of those cases from happening in the first place.
Well,
we can help people to create opportunities to avoid a lot of those issues.
Well, the ideal here would be like, look, we're not the optimal people to help, but I don't think we're going to let that stop us. But the idea would be, you help with this right here, right? And then hopefully what you can do is you can like roll it backwards so that eventually you get people like as soon as they either as soon as they come out or like before they come out they already got plans or before, and then eventually get to a point where it's before they go in they know they got options. Yeah. At least that's the hope. I don't know.
That's the hope. That is the hope. Either that or New York State legalizes marijuana. And you could just buy and sell all you want. And so, then entrepreneurship at its best. Because they are entrepreneurs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do some recommendations?
All right.
Sure.
I thought we were going to make this a short episode.
Was it long? Let me see.
Not too long.
I have a fun recommendation I stumbled across. I found this website. It's called PhiloPic, and what it has is over 2,000 silhouettes of animals and insects, dinosaurs, all kinds of mammals and creatures that have lived on the earth or still live on the earth, and like plants and stuff like that. And it's all under the Creative Commons license, so you can remix it, which means you can alter it, you can use it for whatever. The only thing you can't use it for is for making something to sell. So you can use it if you need inspiration, if you need, like as an artist, it's really something great because if you need to see what a specific dinosaur looked like or what a specific mammal looks like and you're going to do an illustration of it or something, it's a really great reference site. Or if you're just doing some sort of fun project, maybe you're branding or you're doing some sort of wood cutting or laser cutting and you need a silhouette of a certain kind of plant or animal, it's there and it's searchable and it's really really great resource. And I love free stuff like that. And I love it when people put art out there for free for everybody to use. So it's really cool. And again, it's called PhiloPic, and we'll put that in the show notes.
Cool. Jeff, you got something, or you want me to go?
No, I was about to message. Super funny. I'm in Facebook, and I was about to message my bro, and I see Chasen makes Kyle Morford.
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah,
yeah. He just sent me a message saying he liked the podcast. He's saying he's a friend with Bill, and I feel terrible because this is an old message. That's how you know I don't go in the message. So Kyle, if you're listening to this podcast, bro, thank you so much. I'm shooting you the message right now, but thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you reaching out. So my yeah, I told you I'm all over the place. So my recommendation for this episode, last year is when Pokemon Go came out.
Yeah,
last year Pokemon Go came out, and it was something that I was hooked on. It was a dope game, and then I was like, I can't battle people. I don't like this. And so it's been a while since I've had a good game that I was super interested in. But Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know if you guys ever heard of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but I'm dating myself. I'm obviously a youngin'. Yu-Gi-Oh! Just came out with it again. I don't know if it just came out, but I was just introduced to this Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, and it's like a card game where you make monsters fight other people's like Dungeons and Dragons, I guess. I never really played Dungeons and Dragons, so I really don't know if it's like Dungeons and Dragons, but I would imagine it's like Dungeons and Dragons. So this Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, it's on your iPhone. I have it for the iPhone. It's called Duel Links, DUEL Links, LINKS, and it seems pretty cool. I'm still early in it, but it's bringing back a lot of those memories that I had when I was a kid. I remember going and buying the Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. Oh, it might be actual Dungeons and Dragons game. I don't know. What are those? Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards?
No, that's where all my...
Oh, those are the movies.
That's where all my D&D books are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so...
Continue.
It's a pretty cool game. I'm not too far into it, so I don't know. You guys can try it out, and we can figure the game out together. But it seems cool, and like I said, it's a lot of nostalgia going on right now. I'm taken back to when I used to go to the corner store, buy the packs of cards, and we used to trade them, and it's making me feel young again. So I'm gonna put that out there.
Cool. So last week I mentioned a channel by a woman named Becky Stern, and I just said that it was it's a really good channel. And I'm going to mention it again because she actually she reached out to us on Twitter.
You're so lazy.
And she said that she actually took our recommendation and changed up her YouTube sidebar to include all like women and people of color, just other makers who are
that's great.
And I just thought that was the coolest thing. So she's got this awesome listing of other women and people of color who, if you want to check out a whole bunch of channels at once, you start with Becky and go from there.
That is so great. Thanks,
yeah,
Becky,
she just did a video about doing watercolor painting for, I think, the first time. So, Amy, you should check that out.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm still so into it.
I thought it was...
I just got these... I got these watercolor paints. They're like iridescent. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait to use them. I love watercolor painting. I'm gonna have a meetup here at my art studio. If you're in LA, I got a bunch of really inexpensive watercolor palettes. I'm gonna do a meetup here so you guys can come over to my place and watercolor paint.
That's cool.
Oh my God, it's so fun. Okay, sorry, go.
Well, the thing that I thought was interesting was she has a heat gun from working in the shop, which is basically like an overgrown hairdryer, right? So instead of waiting for the watercolors to dry, she's like, I'm going to hurry. Done.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
That is true. It's actually, Johnny has told me that it's been really good for me doing watercolor painting because of the fact that I have to wait for the layers of color to dry. It's good for my patience because I'm so impatient. So it's actually been good for me.
Well,
I don't want to use the air dryer.
I was gonna say.
I have to walk away and sit down quietly and do something else and then come back to it.
So
I love it.
In the spirit of last week, I'm going to skip the where everybody can find us because you know what? If you've been listening, there are another 48 episodes where you can find us. We're not that hard to find. So I think
find us. Good luck.
I think we're just going to close it up.
All right.
So that's it for this week.
Just end it?
Yeah, we're just going to end it.
We're just going to end it.
All right.
Episode 50, something new.
Go out with a bang. Switch it up a little bit.
So if you're listening to the show on iTunes, please take a moment to leave us a rating and tell us what you think. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Makers Hustle. By the way, the feedback since last week has been overwhelmingly positive, which surprised me a little bit, which means one of two things. One of three things. Number one, the people who had a problem with what we said just didn't reply, or number 2, we've already driven all of them away. Or number 3, they stopped listening rather than send something to us. I'll have to take a look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to say something.
Nice
I want to say,
messages,
because I'm looking at my messages, and this is super funny. I'm looking at my messages again. This is a message that I missed as well.
Jeff.
But one of my friends, he reached out to me on Facebook, and it says here that and this is like 2 weeks ago. So sorry, bro. But he reached out to me about 2 weeks ago, telling me that his son has a science project that he wants to work on, and he wants my help. You know what I'm saying? Like that. This is the kind of stuff that.
That's good, but that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm a terrible friend for that. But my point is, like, trying to show people what opportunities are out there, and this. Maybe he was gonna do something with his son already, but the fact that he's willing to go and reach out to somebody else who, I don't want to say is an expert, but knows what could be cool and what could win for the science fair, that just goes to show that we're taking steps, we're making progress, we're getting somewhere, we're on to something.
Yeah.
We just got to do it on a larger scale. Sorry to interrupt that.
It's cool. I lost my spot.
I got a lot of mismatches.
So if you would like to ask a question, give us feedback, or suggest a show topic, you can contact us through social media or send an email to info@makershustlepodcast.com. Once again, thank you so much for listening. And while the show might be over, the hustle never stops. See you next week, everybody.
Bye.
Jeff, answer your messages, man.
I'm a horrible.
I thought I was bad, but you are worse than me.
2 weeks, really?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, man.